Simon & Schuster Audio presents The Guarded Gate, Bigotry, Eugenics, and the Law That Kept 2 Generations of Jews, Italians, and other European immigrants out of America. By Daniel Okrent. Read by the author.
For Bruce McCall, Best of Readers, Best of Friends. And for Ulla Okrent, It's so nice to meet you. A few prefatory notes. I'll begin with my own beginnings. My father's family, shtetl Jews from central Poland, arrived in the United States in 1910, when the immigration gates were still wide open to all Europeans. My mother's father, also Jewish, was a physician who emigrated from Romania in 1922, under a temporary restrictive law that enabled him to slip in before those gates clanged shut 2 years later. By the time my mother and her mother arrived in 1930, my grandfather had obtained citizenship, which enabled their entry. I consequently can't claim spotless objectivity as I tell the fateful story of how a perverse form of science gave respectability to the drastic limits imposed on the number of Jews, Italians, Greeks, Poles, and various other Eastern and Southern Europeans seeking to come to America between 1924 and 1965. Neither do I wish to assert that the sanctions imposed on these debarred millions were crueler than those endured by Asians or Africans or other peoples who suffered discrimination even crueler or of longer duration. The Guarded Gate is not the story of the interplay between xenophobia and immigration policy. It's one of several. That it happens to cut so close to my own bone is inescapable, but no more disqualifying than if earlier Okrents had stood on the deck of the Mayflower. Save for those of us whose antecedents were here before Columbus, every American has a stake in this story, and presumably a predisposition of perspective. Now, about language. As I was writing this book, the quotation marks I initially employed to surround the word science soon began to blemish the manuscript like some form of pox. I ended up deleting almost all of them. Their absence should not suggest my acceptance of forms of inquiry and assertion that were, in fact, not remote.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?